All right, let's talk about something truly historic. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of Artemis 2. This is the mission, the one that finally took humanity back to deep space for the first time in over 50 years.
Yeah, you heard that right. For the first time in over half a century, 4 astronauts strapped into a capsule to journey around our closest celestial neighbor. And look, this wasn't just another launch, not even close. This was a monumental leap, reopening a chapter of exploration that, honestly, many people thought was closed for good. And at the very heart of this mission, the 4 people who made it all happen. So let's meet the crew of Artemis 2. Christina Koch, Victor Glover, Jeremy Hansen, and Reed Wiseman. These are the explorers who literally carried the ambitions of the world on their 10-day voyage.
Because you see, this mission was about so much more than just the destination. It was about this new generation of explorers and, of course, the absolutely groundbreaking technology that got them there.
Okay, so let's break down the official roster. You've got NASA's Reed Wiseman as commander, with Victor Glover, also from NASA, as pilot. And for the mission specialists, we have NASA's Christina Koch and this is super cool, Jeremy Hansen from the Canadian Space Agency. Fantastic example of global collaboration right there.
But this crew didn't just go to the moon. They made history in so many ways. I mean, check this out. Christina Koch became the first woman to travel beyond low Earth orbit. Victor Glover, the first person of color to do the same. Jeremy Hansen became the first non-American to leave Earth's orbit entirely. And altogether, they set a new record for the most people in deep space at once. This crew truly represents a new era for humanity in space.
And of course, they needed some serious hardware to get there. On one hand, you have the absolute beast, the Space Launch System, or SLS. This is, hands down, the most powerful rocket ever built, with 8.8 million pounds of thrust. To put that in perspective, that's 15% more power than the legendary Saturn V from the Apollo days. And on the other hand, they're home for the journey, the Orion spacecraft, which the crew proudly named Integrity. It's just packed with state-of-the-art life support, all powered by a service module built by the European Space Agency. So let's get into the journey itself. It all kicked off with a spectacular launch on April 1st, 2026, lifting off right from Kennedy Space Center. Now that first day was absolutely critical. After launch, Orion didn't just point itself at the moon and hit the gas. Nope. Instead, it went into what's called a high Earth orbit. Think of it like a test drive, a shakedown cruise. The crew meticulously tested every single system. They even performed a proximity demonstration, where they actually took manual control of Orion and flew it near the rocket's discarded upper stage, just to practice maneuvering. That's a skill that's going to be vital for future missions. Once all the systems got a green light from Mission Control, it was time for the big move, the Trans-Lunar Injection, or TLI. This is really the moment of truth, a powerful engine burn from Orion that kicks the spacecraft right out of Earth's orbit and sends it on a 4-day coast all the way to the moon. And this is where the mission reached its peak. This is where they ventured farther than any human had in over 5 decades, and in some cases, farther than any human had ever been before.
And the key to this part of the trip was pure efficiency. Orion used what's called a free return trajectory. It sounds complicated, but the idea is brilliant. You basically aim the spacecraft just right so that the moon's gravity does all the heavy lifting. It grabs the capsule, swings it around the far side, and then slingshots it right back toward Earth. It's an incredibly clever bit of orbital mechanics that also doubles as a fantastic safety feature. So, while they were looping around the moon, the crew of Artemis 2 traveled farther from our planet than any humans in history. They reached a staggering distance of 252,756 miles, breaking that long-standing record set by the crew of Apollo 13. And from that incredible vantage point, they saw something only a handful of people have ever witnessed: the Earth rising from behind the lunar horizon. Commander Reed Wiseman really captured the feeling of that moment perfectly, calling it a once-in-a-lifetime view.
And you can see that whole journey visualized beautifully right here in the mission patch. You've got the Earth, the moon, and that red line tracing the perfect figure-8 trajectory. It's a simple, elegant symbol of their historic trip to the moon and safely back home.
But getting home, well, you could argue it's the most dangerous part of any lunar mission. After 10 days in space, the crew of Integrity had to face the intense, high-stakes challenge of re-entry. To put this into perspective, as Orion hit the upper atmosphere, it was traveling at nearly 25,000 miles per hour. That is just unbelievably fast, about 35 times the speed of sound.
At that kind of velocity, the air itself becomes a braking system, but one that generates an incredible amount of heat. The friction from that speed superheated the plasma around the capsule to almost 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The only thing protecting the 4 astronauts inside was Orion's advanced heat shield. And this was the ultimate test of its upgraded design, especially after the uncrewed Artemis 1 flight showed some areas needed improvement.
So once they made it through the fire, it was time to slow down. And it's not just one step, it's this beautifully timed sequence. First, 2 drogue chutes pop out to stabilize the capsule. Then, 3 smaller pilot chutes deploy, and their job is to pull out the 3 massive main parachutes. And those are what brought Orion all the way down to a gentle 17 miles per hour for splashdown.
And on April 11th, the mission came to a perfect conclusion. A total bullseye splashdown in the Pacific Ocean, southwest of San Diego, where recovery teams were waiting. A flawless end to a truly daring ride.
So, what did this all mean? Why was this so important? Well, Artemis 2 was never just about revisiting the moon. It was a critical test flight, designed to prove that we were ready to go back, and this time for good. And you know what? This mission successfully checked off every single major box. It proved Orion's life support systems can keep a crew alive and healthy in deep space. Check. It showed the SLS rocket was safe for astronauts. Check. It validated the intense re-entry and complex recovery procedures. Big check. And most importantly, it proved, without a doubt, that humanity is once again capable of traveling to the moon and coming home safely.
The mission also tested some incredible new technology. A key experiment was the Orion to Orion, or O2O, laser communication system. Just look at the difference on this chart. Instead of slow radio waves, it uses lasers to transmit data at 260 megabits per second. What does that actually mean? It means streaming high-definition 4K video from the moon is now a reality, a total game changer.
So at the end of the day, Artemis 2 was the dress rehearsal. It was the mission that proved the hardware, the people, and the procedures were all ready for what comes next. It answered the question, can we do this again, with a resounding yes. The next flight, Artemis 3, is the one scheduled to actually land astronauts on the lunar surface. Artemis 2 proved we can do it. The only question left is, are we ready for that next giant leap?